I never could have predicted that a single reckless comment, meant only to make people laugh, would shatter everything I believed was stable in my life. Even now, when I let myself remember that night, I can still sense the moment the atmosphere changed. The exact second a joke stopped being harmless and became the beginning of the end. People often say weddings reveal who we really are. I never thought much of that until the night I humiliated Rowan in front of a room full of people and watched him slowly slide off his wedding ring, as if the weight of those years had finally become too much to carry. Hours before everything collapsed, everything looked perfect. The reception hall glowed with warm light, the music drifted softly, and everyone seemed wrapped in that rare joy weddings bring. I stood there with a drink, smiling politely at relatives I barely recognized and laughing at stories that probably weren't even funny, except that everyone wanted the night to feel magical. Rowan moved through the room with that steady, gentle presence he'd always had. He was never the loudest voice, never the showiest man. He was the calm one, the grounding one, the last person who deserved to be publicly belittled. Andrew, his longtime friend and the best man, was keeping the energy lively with random toasts and light-hearted games. At one point, he nudged me with a playful grin and asked if I wanted to say a few words. I hadn't planned to speak. I hate being the center of attention, and weddings make me emotional in ways I can't predict. But I said yes anyway. Maybe it was the wine. Maybe the pressure of the moment. Maybe some careless, bold instinct in me I should have ignored. As soon as I held the microphone, I felt every eye turn toward me. Someone lowered the music. The room grew still. My heart thudded in my throat. I told myself to keep it short, say something sweet, a little sentimental, nothing dangerous. But then Andrew made some teasing comment about Rowan, the kind of affectionate ribbing only old friends can get away with. Everyone burst into laughter. And instead of staying true to what I planned, I felt the need to match the moment. Say something funny, something that would make the whole room roar. Before I could stop myself, I blurted out a crude, thoughtless remark about Rowan's size. One sentence. One impulsive mistake. The laughter hit fast and loud, real belly laughter that filled the room. For a split second, I felt a rush as if I had performed well. I waited for Rowan to laugh too. He didn't. He gave a smile, but it was the kind someone wears when they're trying not to crumble. A tight, strained smile that held more hurt than any words could. My stomach dropped immediately, but the damage was already done. People drifted back into their own conversations, but Rowan kept himself away from me. Whenever I tried to get near him, someone would stop me to joke about my funny line, or congratulate me for being bold. Every comment made the knot in my chest tighten. I kept telling myself he would brush it off. He always brushed things off. But not this time. Later, when a slow song began and couples paired off on the dance floor, I went to look for him. I found him outside, standing under the glow of the garden lights. His jacket was gone, his tie hung loose, and he stared at the ground as if trying to make sense of something too heavy to hold. I walked toward him cautiously. Even before he looked up, I felt something had shifted beyond repair. When he met my eyes, his expression was calm but empty of softness. He asked me if I truly understood what I'd done, not angrily, not loudly, but with a quiet disappointment that hurt more than any shouting could. I stumbled through excuses. I said it was a joke, that I hadn't meant it, that the whole night was filled with laughter and I just got carried away. He nodded politely, but it was clear he didn't buy any of it. He asked why I, of all people, the one he trusted, decided to turn him into a punchline. Why, when I finally had the spotlight, I used it to wound him instead of lift him. I opened my mouth to answer, but there was no explanation that could undo the moment. And then he reached for his ring. At first I thought he was just fidgeting. I didn't understand, not until I watched him slip it off with a slow, steady motion and hold it between his fingers. For a moment, it felt like even the music from inside stopped. He told me he needed time. That he couldn't walk back into that room pretending everything was fine. That trust, something we'd built for years, couldn't survive if I was willing to break it for applause. Tears rolled down my face, but he didn't reach out, didn't comfort me the way he once would have. He placed the ring in my hand gently, almost respectfully, and then turned and walked back inside. No scene. No yelling. No drama. Just a quiet ending I never saw coming. I stayed out there, clutching the ring as if it might warm in my palm. He left the reception before midnight. Andrew told me Rowan had called a ride and didn't want to make things worse. I returned to our table and sat there alone while the celebration continued around me. Laughter, clinking glasses, music. The world kept spinning while I felt something inside me collapse. When the night finally ended, I walked home with his ring wrapped tightly in my hand. Every step replayed the moment I should have protected him instead of turning him into entertainment. He still hasn't spoken to me. People assume we're giving each other space. They have no idea that one careless sentence can split open something that seemed unbreakable. People talk about unforgettable moments at weddings, beautiful vows, joyful dances, heartfelt toasts. Mine is unforgettable too, but for all the wrong reasons. I learned in the hardest possible way that not all betrayals are rooted in cruelty. Some happen through thoughtlessness, a moment of stupidity, a joke that shouldn't have been told. And all it took to unravel everything was a single sentence, spoken in front of the wrong crowd, and a ring placed quietly in my hand.